Hi everyone, this is Jennifer Wu. This is week 6 multimedia presentation. Here's a table of contents of what we'll be going over. This is the overview, public versus private sector, references, and closing page. Oops, let's go back. Too fast. This week we'll go over how to run a government agency like the private sector. The scenario we were tasked with was our boss has come to you and said we need to run our government agency more like the private sector. I'll use classic public administration theories from founding theorists to compare public versus private sector. So private sector versus public sector. The similarities are they both rely on hierarchy or some kind of chain of command for structure. This ties into Weber's bureaucratic influence as its relevance and Gulick's framework that formalized into practical steps for managers to follow. These principles ensure order, accountability, and consistency, which are all key features for both sectors. Both sectors have rules and strategic plans. Weber's bureaucratic theory explains that organizations, whether governmental or corporate, require clearly defined roles, hierarchy, and standardized procedures to maintain order and consistency. Luther Gulick's POSCOR framework reinforces this similarity by emphasizing that planning and organizing as universal managerial functions. According to Gulick, effective management in any organization, public or private, depends on systematic planning, coordination, and adherence to established processes. Also, Taylor scientific management aligns with this view. Because efficiency depends on standardized methods and controlled processes, much like the strategic planning in modern organizations. Another similarity is efficiency. So Taylor's scientific management emphasized productivity through measurement and standardization, which Wilson and Gulick also supported as essential and effective governance. Wilson called for government to be run like a business-like manner, and Gulick's POSCORP framework outlined universal administrative functions that can be applied to any organization that's seeking efficiency. Differences, both public and private differences are purpose and mission. The public sector exists to serve the public. They focus more on equity, justice, and welfare of the citizens, while the private sector aims to generate profit. This distinction reflects Wilson's foundational idea that administration should be efficient like business, but guided by democratic purpose, not profit. Wilson also emphasized that public administration must pursue collective well being rather than market success. But Appleby reinforced that government is different because its purpose centers on serving citizens and maintaining public trust, unlike private sectors whose mission is to maximize returns for the owners and the stakeholders. Um, Another difference is accountability. In the public sector, administrators are accountable to citizens, elected officials, and the law, operating under systems of transparency and public oversight, whereas in the private sector, accountability is directed towards owners, investors, and customers, measured by profitability and efficiency. This difference aligns with Weber's bureaucratic theory, which emphasizes legal rational authority, where public officials follow formal rules and procedures to ensure fairness and legitimacy. Also, Down's work on bureaucratic behavior explains that while both sectors have internal incentives, public officials face greater constraints because their decisions are visible and must uphold ethical and legal standards rather than private profit motives. The third difference is funding and resources. The public sector is funded through tax revenues, grants, and government budgets. And the private sector, on the other hand, is funded by sales, investments, and profitability. This distinction reflects Gulick's post-score principle of budgeting, which is central in both sectors but serves different ends. In government, budgeting ensures transparency and accountability to the public, and in business, it focuses on maximizing efficiency and financial returns. I used the classics of public administration, our assigned texts for all the essays that are collected in this book for all the theories. In closing, Weber, Gulick, Taylor, they show that structure and efficiency unite both sectors, while Wilson, Appleby, and Downs remind us that purpose, accountability, and public service distinguish them. Both sectors rely on organization and planning, but government's true mission is not profit, it's the public good. So when my boss comes to me to talk about making our government agency more like the private sector, it's very difficult because our missions are very different. Thank you.